Welcome everybody to Forza Horizon 5, and today we're taking a look at the 2000 Hot Wheels Deora 2. Now, the first Deora was made in the 60s, not initially by Hot Wheels, but it impressed Hot Wheels so much that they actually made a small miniature car toy version. And yeah, you might be wondering why I am actually reviewing this version. Well, firstly, it was actually one of the few Hot Wheels vehicles to be given a life-size recreation. And secondly, it's easily one of the more unique versions of one of the more unique Hot Wheels vehicles to be put onto a Forza game. So yeah, for those two reasons, I figured it was worth a shot. So yeah, this is a car that has disc brakes front and rear. It's got quad exhausts. It's got a rear-wheel drive rear engine layout, and it weighs 4,385 pounds, which is obviously quite a lot. But it's also got a unique front on it, in that it opens up like that, which is pretty cool, quite frankly. And yeah, two seats as you can see, and a really rather unique steering wheel on the go there. Looks like something out of Knight Rider. And yeah, really rather unique way of getting into a car of this size. And then you've also got a two surfboards on the back here, which on top of a what looks like a boot, but doesn't look particularly usable, to be honest. But then again, this isn't an everyday car. So yeah, its engine is a 5.2 litre supercharged V8 engine. It's a Cadillac Northstar V8 engine, in fact, and it produces 760 horsepower and 625 pounds-feet of torque, which is, yeah, obviously quite a lot, especially from an engine that originally was only producing like 300 or something like that. And as you can see, it's placed sideways to give the maximum amount of room for the rest of the car. And yeah, it's a very impressive looking vehicle, to be honest. I really do like the look of it. It's got a very futuristic look to it, despite obviously being from the year 2000. Obviously the 60s version was even more futuristic, given, you know, no car at all looked like that, whereas, you know, there were some cars that had some rounded edges like this. You look at the Toyota, I think it's a Previa minivan, that sort of had that rounded front end look to it at the time. So yeah, you will obviously have some vehicles that might look a little bit like this, but yeah, definitely not the whole package. And yeah, really do enjoy it for that. So yeah, let's get out onto the open road and see what this car can do. So yeah, even though we obviously have all of that power and torque, this is obviously quite a heavy vehicle, so it's not going to be particularly quick in a straight line. But let's just see how quick before we hit the speed camera, and then we'll get it around the track. So yeah, 7,500 RPM rev limit, which is pretty high for a V8 engine from the early 2000s. And yeah, despite that weight, it's not slow, but it's definitely hindering it a little bit. So yeah, 143 miles an hour near enough there, so that's reasonable. But given the amount of power it's got, you would have expected it to be quicker, but again, that weight is what's really holding it back. Right, so let's get to the track and see how this handles and performs generally. But yeah, the engine sounds pretty good, which we'll hear in full when we get onto the track. But yeah, definitely hear that supercharger whine going there, which I imagine is what is mainly behind the amount of power that this engine has. Obviously, it's been bored out to be a bit bigger, considering I don't think the Northstar engine was ever near 5.2 litres. Especially not in the Cadillac STS, I think it was that it was in. But regardless, right, let's see what it's like. So it's top of A class, and yeah, they're the stats, which are all pretty damn good, to be honest. Obviously, the off-road capability isn't particularly great, as we saw in the Hot Wheels playthrough, where I tried to do this on an off-road course and it was absolutely useless. But yeah, speed, handling, acceleration, launch, and some braking, in some regards braking, are all fairly good. I guess the braking is good considering how much it actually weighs. So yeah, as per usual, we'll listen to the engine for a little bit, and then we'll talk about it some more. But yeah, this is definitely one of my favourite Hot Wheels additions to the Forza series. So let's see how good it is. yeah, pretty good standing engine to be honest, and as you can see, it's not the worst handling car ever, given how much it weighs and the amount of speed it's able to get up to. So yeah, and its rear engine, rear wheel drive layout does obviously give it plenty of traction at that rear end, especially when it comes to launching off the line. So it's, you know, in a lot of ways like the Porsche 911, and then it's got really good grip on the rear end. But when that grip does let go, obviously you do have quite a lot of weight at the rear end, so it is at times hard to catch it back. Again, somewhat like the 911. So yeah, but acceleration wise this is pretty good. 0 to 60 in 6.2 seconds, 0 to 100 in 15.167 seconds, and it will go into a top speed of 182 miles an hour, which is no doubt due to the really rather aerodynamic front, which probably just cuts through the air really rather nicely because of how rounded it is. So yeah, really enjoy this car. Now you can get this car in the Hot Wheels expansion. Oh dear, overcooked it there. Yeah, you basically have to get into the A-class rank part of that game, because it works in ranks from B-class onwards, and the higher the rank you go, the more vehicles you can drive. You unlock new vehicles for each rank. So yeah, it's a pretty good way of doing it, to be honest. It, you know, filters in the vehicles over time, and you get used to each vehicle as you drive them in the campaign mode. So yeah, really nice car, to be honest, and I'm really glad they've put it in. And yeah, highly recommend getting the Hot Wheels expansion if you haven't got it already. There are, you know, cars that are actual road cars and actual production cars that are also featured in it as well, which I've yet to get around to. But yeah, I really do like this car. I also like the fact that you as a driver are pretty much in front of the front wheels, so yeah, you do really feel like you've got no real front end to it to really worry about when it comes to racing. It is pretty much like a Ford Transit van in that regard, or any other kind of van from the commercial world. So yeah, really do recommend getting the expansion if you haven't got it already. And nonetheless, thanks for watching, and I'll see you with the next one. Bye.